It's time to take a 4-point hit or maybe even a -8, and this is why. Welcome to the GW26 YouTube show. Hope you guys are well. We're going to be talking about my transfers this week. We're going to talk about captaincy and loads more. But before we do, shall we have a little bit of a stock check with regards to some stats? Let's just touch on very quickly some of the best attacks and best defences in the league right now, because this might influence our thinking when we're transferring players in. Of course it will. These stats are from Fantasy Football Scout, by the way, guys. Links in the description. If you fancy hitting that like button and subscribing, that'd be amazing. But look, last 4 game weeks, what teams are creating the most big chances? I love big chances as a metric. You guys know I like expected data. I like XG. I also like big chances, because if a team's clocking huge amounts of big chances, sure, goals, if they're not already, will start to flow. Liverpool top of the charts there. Shame that Liverpool assets, we can't go there this week, and we're selling them now because Darwin and Jota are injured. Salah too. Trent as well. Aston Villa, though, are second. Aston Villa have created 16 big chances in the last 4 weeks. Like, Ollie Watkins, if you don't own him, feels like a really good own this week. Just second, like third, just behind Villa. Like, scored fewer goals, 6 instead of 9, but created 16 big chances in 4 weeks. Is Tony's Brentford. Again, is he going under the radar? Tony, still a differential under 10%, a great own. Then it's usual suspects, Arsenal and Man City, Brighton. Good, high, big chance creation, right? We definitely like that. When we look at some of the worst defences in the league, the best defences in the league, who cares about the worst defences unless we're targeting them, but we're certainly not buying them. I just looked at the last 6 game weeks and was like, let's look at the expected goals conceded versus the actual. And Arsenal, they've conceded 4 goals in 6 weeks, right? And we know they're a good clean sheet source. But when we look at the expected total, Arsenal are clear and away the best defence in the league. Make no doubt about it. So if you're shopping for a defender this week and you only have one Arsenal defender, can you get to a second one? I was 0.1 from going Porro to Saliba last week. 0.1 short. I went Doherty. Didn't work out. 2.94 XGC for Arsenal in the last 6 game weeks. That is so good. And then look, since Nuno's been at Forest, their defensive data has been excellent. And we know with Nuno, he's a manager that will keep clean sheets. So maybe not for now, but have Forest defenders on your radar. Obviously with wing-backs in action as well. There could be some upside there. Definitely. So Forest second, City a third, but always find a way of conceding 1. Brighton, who'd have thought it if only a Estupiñán was getting the regular minutes. Everton and Bournemouth, right? Interesting to know. I definitely think the appeal, like forget about blanks and doubles. Double Arsenal defence feels obvious, doesn't it? I think it does. So look, who am I buying? Who am I selling this game week? Double-digit hauls last week for single game weekers. The big scorers, Saka, Watkins, Solanke. Yeah, in double game weeks, it doesn't always flow that the doublers get the points. Now, were we right to stack up on Liverpool and Man City? Yeah, we were. Like, you have to sometimes back the decision, not the outcome. And variance will always play a part. It wasn't a bad decision to go triple Liverpool or triple Man City. It wasn't a bad decision to triple Captain Haaland, by the way. And look, with 10 going to 30, I think we take it. It could have been so much more. The decision was bang on. He clocked 2.57 XG Haaland in those 2 fixtures against Chelsea and Brentford. When Haaland clocks 2.57 XG, he's usually clocking 3 goals, right? Sometimes more. He clocked 1 goal. Yeah, wasn't great. But we move on. Slight red arrow for me, by the way. Outside the top 100k now. My team this week is all about how many players can you field. This week for many is all about what are you doing with your Spurs, your Chelsea, your Luton and your Liverpool. And I always knew going into this game week, I'd be taking a hit. I had hoped I would just need 2 transfers to field 11. And I'm still kind of hoping. Before we see my team in action, should we just touch on a couple of players if I think they're sell or holds? So Cole Palmer, for many, might be a sell. I think a lot depends on team value. A lot depends on when you might wildcard and if you might bring him back. Like, I know Cole Palmer is going to be in my team between now and the end of the season. Again, probably long term. Do I want to sell him? Do I like his fixtures versus Newcastle and Brentford coming up? Yeah. Like, I don't need to sell Cole Palmer at all. And he's definitely a hold for me. Richarlison, same again. Knowing he plays in 29, you probably hold him. Your Luton defenders, or Luton players in general, they double in 28. You probably want to hold them. So the sellable players are Definitely your Liverpool assets because they're probably injured and they don't play. But also you might have someone like a Porro who's flagged and we don't know if he'll be available in 27. So maybe press conference news there would be key. But definitely your Jotas, your Darwins, your Trents, if you've still got Trent, time to move them on, right? So look, my team at the moment, this is before transfers, we can see I have 9 players in theory, if they all start. Estupiñán, I'm looking at you. I've got 9 players. So 2 free transfers is like, oh, can Gianni get an 11 out? It might not be that simple. So look, Areola in goal over Dubravka for me. Brentford at home. Come on, Areola. At some point, keep a clean sheet. Gabriel, Estupiñán and Charlie Taylor, who is back in action and got some minutes last time out. He should start versus Palace, I think. That could be a 0-0 game, I reckon. I'm fairly optimistic that could be really boring and low-scoring, Palace-Burnley. Then we have Saka, fine. We have Jota, we need to sell him. Foden, De Bruyne, Haaland. My Man City triple attack, I'm fairly confident of Haaland and Foden starts, but with De Bruyne, he didn't warm up. He didn't get off the bench. I think he would have played against Brentford, and Pepper said he's had some hamstring niggles and he didn't feel 100%. So it was precautionary. That was Tuesday night. Are you all right by Saturday, mate? Please be. I'm going to be looking at training ground photos and Pep will surely be asked about it in the press conference. I hope with an FA Cup game versus Luton in the week, that can be his rest. And he probably looks ahead and goes, yeah, I need to continue getting minutes because this is still part of my return back into the team of clocking minutes. De Bruyne's not been back long. He doesn't really want to be missing 2-3 weeks again, right? So I'm hopeful De Bruyne comes in. I'm probably going to have to roll the dice because Pep's not going to tell us either way. And I'm probably not going to take a hit for him out knowing he is Bournemouth away. And that's potentially a good-ish fixture for De Bruyne. So where are my big headaches? First, let's discuss the easy ones. By the way, my bench is Dubravka, Palmer, Bell and Doherty. And up front, I've also got Watkins. Great. Goodish fixture against Forest at home and then Darwin. So let's discuss Darwin replacements really quickly. If you don't have Watkins, you're probably buying him. If you don't have Solanke, you're probably buying him. Should you look at Højlund? Yeah. Should you look at Tony? Yeah. Do I prefer the other two than the latter two? I think I do. I don't have Solanke. It's a bad entry point, Man City at home. I still think Bournemouth could score in that game, maybe one. But then he plays Burnley, Luton, Sheffield United in a double, and Burnley before that in 27. Solanke's going to be everyone's captain in 28. You're going to want him in your team. It doesn't matter that it's a bad entry point this week. You're still getting 2 appearance points. You could go, I'm going to go Højlund for a week or Tony for a week and then... But no, I don't think so. You might choose to go Darwin to Tony and then Haaland comes out for Solanke because Haaland's got a couple of difficult fixtures. I like him in the Manchester derby, but then it's Liverpool and then it's a blank game week. So you could do a bit of an okey-dokey around Haaland, but for me, Haaland stays in. It's Darwin to Solanke. It's easy. It doesn't need to be discussed, I don't think, for long. The Jota replacement does. And guys, by the way, do hit that like button. Thank you very much. And if you can, subscribe to the channel. That'd be amazing. I started the week and I did my video and I've done a members only video, which was all around I'm really torn. And as the days have gone on, I've become a little bit more boring in my thinking. So I started the week going, Jota replacements are Leon Bailey or Douglas Luiz, so Aston Villa. The beauty of Aston Villa is good fixtures, play in 29. Brilliant. I don't want a free hit in 29. Maybe I will free hit in 29. I don't know yet. I'm going to have to wait till next week to decide. And next week we will know so much more because FA Cup is midweek before the 27 deadline. So we will know about the 29 blanks. We'll even know about some of the projected guesstimates on doubles of 34 and 37 by next week. So if you can, hold off as long as possible. Obviously, things are pressing this week and we need to act. So Douglas Luiz or Bailey. If I went to an Aston Villa midfielder, it would be Bailey. That's just the sort of player I prefer, right? I know Douglas Luiz, minutes, set pieces, pens, whatever. I then was like, Arsenal, Odegaard. Loads of benefits to Arsenal. The fact they travelled to Portugal in the week didn't look great, and it's a trip back from Portugal before a weekend fixture. I don't know if I'd like Odegaard as much. I also have to question the fact that Odegaard's lost set pieces to Declan Rice, who's got great delivery, so he loses a bit of his assist threat. So I liked Odegaard. I've got a spare Arsenal slot. I'm not going Odegaard. I'm not going Bailey or Douglas Luiz, I don't think. I'll give you percentage splits in a minute. And then there's the Wolves lads. And at the start of the week, I liked the Wolves lads, but I was kind of maybe slightly more pro Bailey. Hwang and Neto both give good options. Neto comes with really good assist threat. Hwang comes with really good goal threat. I like Wolves very much. I like the entry point against Sheffield United. I like the next three. I think it's Newcastle, then Fulham. What I don't like is the fact that I don't think they'll play against Bournemouth in Game Week 29, and Aston Villa mids do. But let's get points here and now and then commit to a chip strategy next week. It just makes complete sense. So is it Hwang or Neto? I think against Newcastle the week after, Neto will be the better option. Away from home, space to gallop into. He looked brilliant against, but the counter-attack style will really suit him. Away from home, against teams that all have a go. Against the more deeper block teams at home, like, say, Sheffield United when they come to town, I expect Neto to not get time and space. I expect there not to be many counter-attacks. And I expect Hwang to probably be the guy that's looking at picking up the points. So Hwang over Neto for me this week. We still don't know about pens at Wolves. Sarabia could have them. I think Hwang took one when Sarabia was off the pitch and maybe vice versa this season. Obviously, Cunha was on pens. Obviously, he's injured. I expect Hwang would take them with Sarabia on the pitch as the number 9, but Sarabia's record's very good. But we like Hwang very much. He's cheap, he's a midfielder, he's playing number 9 for a team that looks good at the minute. It seems so obvious just to go Hwang, doesn't it? Somewhere at the back of my mind is Leon Bailey because of 29, but I'm still not committing to that chip strategy, and I can't fully commit until I know midweek round FA Cup outcomes. And there might be a surprise or two, right? So I would say I am 80% likely going to go Hwang, 20% likely going to go Bailey. I will not be going Douglas Luiz, Odegaard or Neto. I can confirm that. I hate coming to these videos and giving you 5 names of equal chances. You're like, no, just give me percentages. Like, that's what I'm trying to do, right? I don't see many doing that. And I'm like, that's hopefully really useful to you guys if I give, I'm 80% likely to do this, 20% to do this. Same when I talk about captaincy. Let me know in the comments if you appreciate that approach, by the way. I've just started doing it the last few weeks. And so far, every time I've said that a guy with bigger odds, I think I've gone there. Come the deadline. Defence. I've told you I'm not selling De Bruyne in midfield, and I'm hoping he gets minutes. I'm hoping he starts. Unless we hear anything in the press conferences, by the way. I don't think Pep will give us much. Will we hear much in the press conference about Estupiñán? I'm sure De Zerbi's going to be asked. I hope he's asked. Although the guys that go to press conferences, these journos, many of them aren't FPL managers and might not care about Estupiñán. Maybe that's not a big enough news story in the football team or in the Brighton camp that he's not starting games. They look good without Estupiñán. He was at fault for, I think, the goal against Spurs. And since then, he's been in and out of the team. Actually, I think he's missed the last couple, right? He's getting cameos. Cameos, 9-minute appearances are just going to be at 1-pointers. Home to Everton is a good fixture if he starts. It's a bad fixture if he doesn't start. No fixture's a good fixture if you don't start. I could take a -8 and get rid of Estupiñán. The problem I've got is, because I'm not fully committing to that chip strategy and navigating 29 without a hit, I don't know the best replacement. I don't fully know. Like, I could go to an Aston Villa defender because they play in 29. And again, Moreno catches the eye. Pau Torres is a good, safe pair of hands. 2 good options there, depending on your appetite for risk, because maybe Dean could take Moreno's spot if he has a few bad games. But Moreno comes with a greater upside. So the Aston Villa defence, fine. But what if I end up free hitting in 29 and I've just taken a hit for a Villa? Because I think Villa will concede to Forest, right? So it just seems silly going there. The standout option, if you're going for a defender, is just to go straight away, I'm going to get Saliba in. I should have got Saliba last week. I couldn't because I was 0.1 short. Take the extra -4 now, get Saliba in, and over the next 3 weeks it pays off because they'll keep 2 clean sheets in the last 3. We just saw that expected data, right? Arsenal's expected goals conceded in the last 6 games is under 3 goals. They concede less than half a goal a game, 2.94, and they actually conceded 4. So their expected goals, they're conceding under 0.5. Like, that's elite. Like, even seasons gone by when Man City have been the best defence in the league, to be clocking less than 0.5 XGC is amazing. So that's an option. I could sell a Estupiñán for Saliba. I could sell Charlie Taylor for Saliba. Like, I could take a -8 for Saliba. Will I do it? I'm not sure. I'd say I'm 50-50 as things stand. If I go Saliba, does that help me with my blanks and doubles? Not really, right? Because Estupiñán's unlikely to play in 29. Saliba's unlikely to play in 29. It doesn't make much difference. Taylor does have a fixture, so another reason to keep, I guess. Also, he's just a good enabler as a bench option. So Estupiñán to Saliba, I'd say I'm 50-50 on. And again, press conferences might matter. Do I think Newcastle score against Arsenal? I'm not sure. I think Isak is rumoured to be back. But I'd have to say, I'd favour a clean sheet over them scoring on current form, I think. And again, it was a worldie in the week against Porto. Like, they were keeping a clean sheet in Europe away from home until, the 95th minute. So that's where I'm at this week. Captaincy we have to discuss. And it is a discussion this week, which is good, because Haaland being back in the game does make it a little bit more boring. Has changed the way we play FPL. Say it all the time. Saka's a legit option this week. Playing really well. Newcastle are all over the place. Do you know who Saka's playing up against? Dan Burn. Do you know who's been Newcastle's biggest weak link of the last 2 months? Dan Burn. Do you know Eddie Howe always starts, even though he's got Livramento that can play left back? Dan Burn. Saka could have a field day. Saka's a good option. On paper, you could say Watkins is a good option, but I just think we've looked at those Nottingham Forest defensive figures, second to Arsenal in XGC in the last 6. I don't think Aston Villa run riot. And actually, Forest caused Villa problems earlier in the season. Villa are in a really good run of form. They went to Nottingham and they lost. So I wouldn't be looking at Watkins. I would be looking at Saka. I'm not going to go Saka, though. I am going Erling Haaland if he's available, which we, of course, expect he is. Bournemouth are no mugs at all. But Erling Haaland has been getting huge chances against Chelsea, against Brentford. That one goal was very disappointing for us triple captainers, wasn't it? But we can't look past the fact he clocked 2.57 XG. He could get 2-3 big chances in that game against Bournemouth. And on another day, that those big chances that he was missing against Chelsea and Brentford, he scores every single one of them. And it could be a hat-trick. So because the higher ceiling, as always, is often the case, goes to Erling Haaland. He will be my captain for Game Week 26. Saka, I think, will be my vice captain. So transfers, just to do a recap, 50-50 on if I hold Estupiñán or not. If I sell him, I don't think I'll go to Villa. I think I'll go to Saliba. And I'm likely to go Jota out to Hwang, 80% likely. 20% I go Bailey. I'll be locking the transfers in on Saturday, guys. I'm going to do a deadline stream, by the way, if you fancy joining me on that deadline stream. And I'm locked into Darwin Solanke. There we go. -4, maybe a -8. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do you know I've got a WhatsApp group? If you fancy joining it, you have to be an Ultras member. You can do. Click the word join below this video. If you want to be a normal member, our squad members get extra content too, including comments in responses on all your comments in the lives. The lives are about everyone watching, and I answer as many questions as I can. But the focus often goes to questions from channel members. So all the times I do lives, channel members' questions always on screen. So yeah, check that out if you fancy it. And guys, thank you so much for liking and subscribing. I will see you on Saturday for the deadline stream. I might even do a Q&A on Friday with Az. That could be quite fun in the afternoon. We'll see about that. Keep your eyes peeled. But for now, I'll see you very soon. Cheers, guys.